Okay, folks, I have 7 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call to order this June 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Town of White Lake. And I would ask, first of all, that you bow your heads for the invocation. Dear Lord, we wish to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to gather here this evening to discuss the business of our town. We ask that you guide and direct us as we attempt to do your will and to do those things that are in the best interest of the citizens of this town. These things we ask in Christ's name. Amen. The next matter is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask Commissioner Womble to lead us in the pledge, and all of you are welcome to join.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda items, and I will say to you that on the agenda adoption under A, we will need to add in one matter on dealing with information that we just received after the printing of the agenda, and that is an update on our multi-use path, which will be added in under as 3A3. So with that one change, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion second. Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item number 2 is our public hearing on the proposed 2025-26 budget. We have a sign-up sheet that is required to be signed prior to the beginning of the meeting. We have 3 folks signed up to speak. I'll call each one of you individually, and your comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. First person on the list is Alan Pittman.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I understand that we got in the budget, not seen, but understand we still have money for our consultant, Diane Larson, and possibly a increase in her salary. And just want to revisit that. Guys, it's been 7 years, the Lake's green. 7 years, Lake's green. Let's go back to 2018. May of 2018, we were pretty desperate. We had some really bad stuff going on in the lake. We had to do something. We got it sprayed. Have come in, Goldston did a good job of getting that done and passed. We had $730,000 to do that. We needed some help. We reached out, didn't know where to go, and we got some consultants. They about whether or not they were good or not, or whatever, but anyway, they did that. We paid them $80,000 to do that. Then realized what we had accomplished, in Goldston's words, I quote, "This is a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid just to allow us to see what's going on with the lake and fix it, and fix it, and fix it." So what do we do? We hired Diane. Diane understood was supposed to have some rapport with the state. She's supposed to have a scientific background. And we now have 7 years, $90,000 to Diane Lake's green. But I suggest to you, it's not her fault. It's not her fault. We hired her. She's not qualified. Her qualifications are in freshwater plants. She did her work up in Great Lakes. She's not qualified to work on our algae problems and try to rectify the situation we have. So what happens? She comes, she gets off on the wrong foot. She comes in, she talks about, well, there are no springs. Well, of course, she didn't see any springs. There hadn't been any, that took us 2 years to convince her there really were. They weren't pumping at the time, they're not pumping now. It's not her fault. They weren't pumping at the time. So she was put on some scientific committees with very, very qualified individuals with algae and restoration of lakes that needed some help. Well, won't go on to what happened with scientific committees that she was on, but they all disbanded. So evidently the town wanted her to do a monthly report. So she's doing this monthly report. It's interesting. The state does not want this monthly report. They don't get it. They don't need it. And that's what they have said. But I will give her credit. Let's give credit where credit's due. She's an excellent person to go and do all kinds of research in the past. Matter of fact, she brought up a newspaper article from the 50s that showed that the voting was a concern in the 50s. Okay, guys, what do we have? 10 horsepower motor? Maybe 25? It's not relevant, but it is relevant because she finds these little items to bring up that there's a problem with the lake that's always existed, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we continue to pay her. We even had a petition, over 1,000 names on that.
Alan, your time is up. It's been 4 minutes. We had
That's
3
it.
minutes per citizen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quit paying her $90,000. Let her go home to South Carolina where she's an elected official.
Okay, next is Sandra Herring. Can't read the last name.
Yeah, you see our time to Alan.
Sir?
Can we cede our time to Alan so he can finish?
No, under our rules, you can't cede time to someone else. No. We need to see the adopted rules. I'm not making that up on the fly. I'll be glad to show it to you. You can't cede your time to someone else. No. Do you have any comments? No. Next is Allison Pittman Johnson.
Thank y'all very much for letting me speak. Every single one of you up here is professional in some way, shape, or form. And every single one of you understands business and hiring people and hiring experts and hiring people that know the job, hiring people that are qualified. And I'm 99% sure, 100% sure, that if every single one of you hired somebody that did a crappy job, you'd probably fire them. So help us to understand, because we sure haven't. When you have an expert in cleaning up our water, and you keep paying her, and you keep her around, how does that make sense? Because every single one of you should care about this lake. You know what needs to be done. You know you need to stop hiring and paying someone that is not qualified, that doesn't care, like we should. And I would like to also wrap my brain around, you're paying her. She's being paid. But White Lake, our lake, is not benefiting from her expertise. They're not benefiting, we are not benefiting from losing the money to her. But who is? She is, but we aren't. Guys, you've got to stop. Get an expert that actually is in North Carolina in the water quality control. We have people here in White Lake that know how to help our water. If you're going to jump and pay her to have now an assistant, you're out of your ever-loving mind. And you are not thinking about what you would do in your actual business. Do you understand? Your business, you hire an expert and you get rid of them. Him, her, whatever. It doesn't matter. you get rid of them. She's not an expert. And she's benefiting, but we aren't. Get rid of her.
There's no one else signed up to speak, so at this time, we will close the public hearing, and the matter of the budget will be addressed later on this evening. Item number 3 is administrative matters. We have 3 of those to present. The first is the White Lake Management project update. And Sean, if you will, please.
Yes, sir. In this month's report, Dr. Lawrenson provides her monthly update to the board. This update is available on whitelakewatch.com for those in the audience that want to follow along or want to go back and reference it. In this month's update, Dr. Lawrenson states that rainfall has been more frequent in May. That has resulted in roughly 7.5 inches for the entire month. And as a result, the lake level has increased by 2.5 inches during that time period. Dr. Lawrenson also shares laboratory results with the board with data analyzed on White Lake. In her summary, Dr. Lawrenson points out high levels of inorganic nitrogen that is currently found in the lake water, and thus resulting in an algal bloom of sorts that has artificially raised the pH of the water. And she points out in making that statement that there's several samples, one from February and one from later on in the summer, where the pH lowers after said inorganic nitrogen that's found in lake water has been dissolved or utilized. Additionally, Dr. Lawrenson provides the comprehensive White Lake monitoring report for 2024 in this month's update. That includes 14 summary statements observed over the course of a year. She does state that this report is a little bit different than the results that are seen now. And one indicator she mentions is that the pH of the water throughout 2024 never exceeded a 7. But again, there's 14 summary statements observed over the course of the year listed in the document. There's also a wealth of data in respect to sampling and lab analysis. There's also several different sections where she explains in her words what that data and analysis means, quote unquote, in layman's terms, I suppose. And finally, Dr. Lawrenson provides the board with a study conducted in 1979 that was conducted by North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission on the aquatic vegetation found in White Lake. And she points out in that report that just like the actual water column itself, the bottom of the lake is rich in various and complex organic material that changes over the course of a year. Mayor, that concludes the lake update, lake management report for this month.
I like to comment on this part of the meeting. Some of these folks here, I think the town has, in a lot of ways, have been exclusive and not inclusive. Maybe on purpose, maybe just kind of a lot of things going on. I did sit on a meeting this past Friday with Diane. I had a lot of questions you folks had, and she put me at ease. She gave me some information I didn't know, or maybe I had forgotten. State test lake once every 5 years, about a year to come back. They only test for a few things about algae, where she has taken it to the next level, folks. The data she gets, it goes to Washington State. They filter and everything in the lake. They break it down. State's just looking at 2 things, hydrilla and one other algae. Well, we have the information. There's a lady that's expertise in water, and she studies it. Now, we have the data, which is a good thing. What we use that data for, maybe that's part of the problem. Data should be, what can we do to solve these issues? And there is discussion on that. Now, moving forward, I think this is a council form of government. 3 of the commissioners, or at least 2, should be in with the mayor on come with these, with the water and be on these so we can answer to y'all the questions y'all have and not get built up, not hear things on Facebook. not come up with in your mind like so many of us do. I do. I know the truth. So on this, some of this money, yeah, I like y'all. We just throwing it away, but we have data that if the lake does get worse, at least we can show something to the state. I think Dean Hilton has been a healing process that we've had to go through. Every report we got back, there's been a healing that we need to come. He's moving forward on that. So I don't want us to leave this room here tonight thinking we don't care. We got a lot of us on this board here, got a lot of money invested in this lake, and I absolutely do care. I want to share that with y'all, but I do think this is coming on this board, as a council board, that we're more involved, that we're knowledgeable, and we pass this information. So we can be rest assured, or help answer the questions and get the questions answered that y'all have. Because I had the same question. Thank you. Well,
Yeah. Sean, something else on that, you can go ahead with, item number 2 on the AIA project update.
Yes, sir. For number 2, the White Lake Water AIA project update. This project is now 72% complete. We are still in the process of working through a hydraulic model with the engineer. There were several questions about water line sizes and how they loop in and tie in and what pressure is generated as a result of that. But that process is coming to a conclusion, and at that conclusion, staff will be working next on a risk analysis and capital improvement plan development through the months of July and August, and then hopefully, if all goes well, presenting a draft asset management plan on our water system improvements moving forward to the board in the month of November. Mayor, if there are no questions, that concludes the water asset and inventory assessment update for this month.
Next is the one that we added on the agenda. Sean, if you'll present the multi-use path. And folks, we have some good news in regard to that. And we had just gotten some of that in. So Sean, if you will.
Yes, sir. The multi-use path, as everyone in the room knows, as the board well knows, has been an ongoing conversation. I think if memory serves, phase 1 was completed in 2018, 2019 timeframe. I know Eddie Madden, as grant manager for the town at that time, went to work right away on funding for phase 2. I picked up his work when I came on board, and we've continued looking for grants and funding opportunities ever since. The problem with that has been the cost of the project totaling around $1.1 million to go from Turtle Cove essentially to the other side of White Lake Marina. So you can see the distance involved and the cost associated with that. It creates a non-competitive grant application, to be blunt. Recently, as part of the Creating Outdoor Recreation Economies Plan, staff put an application in for that program. We were accepted. We were one of the few towns actually accepted to that program. There were several counties and some economic development associations. Throughout that project, we actually joined with Bladen County. A lot of the work group was the same. There were many stakeholders throughout that process that became the same people, and thus it made sense to combine it, but we never lost track and we never lost the value of the multi-use path during that process. In fact, it is listed as a deliverable in the county's Creating Outdoor Recreation Plan that was adopted by the Bladen County Board of Commissioners. The priority has always been the multi-use path. As part of the core plan, again, that's Creating Outdoor Recreation's Economy, we signed a partnership or entered into a partnership with North Carolina State Landscape Architect School to have several of their grad school students work on a project for us throughout the semester of their course of work. That project was completing our path. We had an engineered shovel-ready path, as I just described, that basically went from, again, the marina, going backwards, Turtle Cove to the marina. And that cost me $1.1 million. So with NC State, the emphasis was put on trying to complete the path in the hopes that we could create a more competitive grant application and thus a viable project. The good news, there's 2 good news key takeaway points. Commissioner Hawley and I and several citizens met with NC State's team and then some representatives from the state, both East Coast Greenways, Mountain to Sea Trails, and the Great State Trails Coalition, which is a mouthful, were represented on that call. And the purpose of that call was to share preliminary images. Those preliminary images in that conversation resulted in our path being completed on the lakeside. So that is the first good news item for the update tonight, is that we do, and we are working towards a path that is completed on the lakeside, including Highway 53. The second good news that came from that conversation is that, mainly as a result of the delineation of wetlands and the conversation that took place at the federal circuit of court, both appeals and some in district courts, but during that conversation, I think in 2021, 2022, that time frame, we revisited the outcome of that court case as part of our project with NC State. And NC State is telling us that we no longer need the boardwalk section of our phase 2 path. We are still going through some checks to finalize that plan, but if that comes to fruition, that will result in a cost saving of roughly $700,000 on our path plan. The third takeaway, and the town, in full transparency, has not received any dollar amount associated with this, although Ken Clark, the district engineer for DOT, did share the update at the chamber breakfast not long ago, so I feel comfortable sharing it tonight. The town is in next year's budget to receive sidewalk monies to extend the sidewalk on White Lake Drive from where roughly the tradition all the way to the Scotchman. And if that comes to fruition, which we have all indication that it will, again, Ken Clark gave the update at the chamber breakfast, that will essentially result in Turtle Cove to the Scotchman, and then Camp Clearwater, well, a little past Camp Clearwater to Waterford, leaving us to complete the path. So again, we've got a preliminary design done. We have an update forthcoming where NC State Landscape Architect School will share images that we will put on our website and share with the community. And we hope, we think that it's going to generate a lot of excitement in the community about a path and a project that went from non-competitive and non-viable to very competitive and very viable. Mayor, if there are no questions, that concludes the update for the multi-use path.
Okay, now, any other questions in regard to that? Folks, for y'all in the audience, we're looking at finally being able to move ahead, hopefully on the path. It's certainly going to be easier to build from Turtle Cove down to the marina without having to put in a boardwalk or bridge. And that'll save us a lot of money. And as John was saying, we can hopefully have found a way to run the path on the lake side of Highway 53 and be able to connect up with that. So this is something we've been waiting for a long time, and with the state coming in to give us money to extend the sidewalk from basically where Regal Resort is down to Scotchman, then we're well on our way, hopefully, to getting that extended and realizing the dream we've had for a long time of being able to extend that all the way around the lake. And hopefully that will be something that we can accomplish. Okay. Next matter is that's all of our initial administrative matters under A. Under B is interlocal agreement between Bladen County government and the town of White Lake to authorize the county to collect town taxes. Sean, if you will.
Yes, sir. This is a follow-up to the agenda item that was discussed last month in reference to the county collecting the town's taxes. This is the interlocal agreement that you see before you. Just as a reminder to the board, there's nothing that changes at the citizen level. The citizen still pays their taxes the same way they would if they were paying it to the town of White Lake. The change being that they pay the county collects those taxes instead of the town itself. But if there are no questions, the agreement is in your agenda packet. If the board votes to adopt it, this should, as I understand it, will be on the Board of Commissioners agenda packet at the county level on Monday night.
I don't see the value in us having them collect our taxes. We do a good job here. What's our rate? 99%. We're fully staffed. More so than we've been in the past. I don't see if you want to outsource something, are we going to delete an employee? Where's our savings? So I don't see how that benefits the town. And if I got a problem with paying taxes, I'd much rather walk in that office and go to the county and kind of that hallway, breezeway and ask questions. So I'd rather keep it in-house. And I don't think too many years ago, they used to collect our taxes and we brought it back in-house. So I don't see why we need to fix something that's not broke.
Well, one thing I would say is that, I think the value is it saves us a substantial amount of money each year, with having the county collect that. I think we're one of two municipalities in the county that don't have it collected by the county at this time, and they're set up to do that. It'll save us a substantial amount of money, and my hope is that it will result in us not having to acquire additional employees in the administrative section. And so if we can save money with doing that, the county's collection rate has been, from what I understand, very good. And you're talking about if there's a problem with the taxes that you'd rather come here. Well, people can still come here. That's not a problem for them to do. The county just sends the billing out. We're in a position, we have a certified tax collector on board. We can entertain people's concerns and questions in regard to taxes and relay that. All of our tax releases are done through approval with the county in any event. I just hope it'll save us money and people can come here to address their tax issues.
And their fee is, I read 2%.
Yes.
We'll
We're gonna pay them 2% on something we're already doing and we don't have a problem collecting. I just don't see the value in outsourcing it. Again, we're fully staffed here. We used to operate with like 4 people, now we got 6. So I just don't see the value in us going to them, keeping it in-house.
Well, there isn't, except for the saving the salary of an additional person we got to pay,
And
which
we're
is
fully
more,
staffed.
more than the 2%.
We're fully staffed, everybody's got the whole thing.
All right, any other discussions or questions? At this time, we discussed at our last meeting doing the interlocal agreement. We've had that approved, had it drawn up. This time I would entertain a motion that we approve the interlocal agreement between Bladen County and the town of White Lake to authorize the county to collect town taxes.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any additional discussion? If not,
Mayor, what is the potential savings?
how much is the salary?
We said significant.
North of 50,000. If we hired a tax collector at the previous rate that we paid our former tax collector, who was promoted to our town clerk, it would be 60 to 70,000.
So we would not fill another position now if we do business with the county on tax collector.
Correct.
Correct.
So what we have now will be our staff.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussion? There's been a motion, second, no further discussion. All in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed? So that passes and we will proceed with that agreement. All right, item C, Sean, if you will take that, please.
Yes, sir. This is an agreement between the town of White Lake and the White Lake Water Festival Committee. This is in reference to the musical entertainment that was conducted during the White Lake Water Festival. This is actually a reimbursement of $4,000, which was a pre-budgeted expense to the Water Festival Committee. Whereas in the past, that money was going to the chamber. That organization has changed, and this money is in turn being sent to that aforementioned organization. This is just the agreement that allows us to do that. If there are any questions, happy to entertain them. If not, staff would ask that the board approve the agreement as presented.
So moved.
Motion second, any discussion? Not all.
They need to recuse themselves, Dean and Jake, on this, but since they're part of the contract.
I don't think Dean would have to. I am the president of the Water Festival events
Corporation, I mean, we can have discussion about it. I just headed it up to make sure the Waterfest didn't go away.
I'm happy to be refused.
Well, I don't think there's a conflict there. If you want to recuse yourself, we can do that.
If there's no conflict.
In the Water Festival, we moved that money over to the Water Festival Committee. And I think we give our money to the committee, or now new 501c. It looks like that be in-house housekeeping, not an additional expense for the town of White Lake, especially talking the budget, raising taxes. So
So it's its own entity. It's White Lake Water Festival and Events Incorporated. So that entity conducts the water festival and the fireworks and any other fundraisers throughout the course of the year to have local events, concerts, things of that nature for the community, just like the chamber has done in the past. The chamber last year decided to step away from the water festival. So some concerned citizens formed the entity, the nonprofit entity, in order to ensure that the water festival and the fireworks continue forward.
and didn't we give money, didn't we have budgeted already to the Water Festival to town? Did we give the committee some money?
We did not. The money was there, but when Water Festival came to get it, they wouldn't give it to them.
That's right.
So the problem I have with this is that it's earmarked for musical entertainment. And Timbo, are they paying for your musical entertainment at Rendezvous? Okay, just checking. I'm trying to clear this up.
So that was a specific item that the staff advised the White Lake Water Festival and Events to have a straightforward invoice for a straightforward reimbursement type of payment, where all of that was very straightforward. So that was going through the direction of the staff at the town, is what that is specifically designed. I met with Mary Jo several times on it, and I was taking her lead on the appropriate manners to utilize that money.
So it wouldn't make sense to give it to the nonprofit, just here, Water Festival. We've always given you money, let's give you money.
In the past, we had an MOU, memorandum of understanding with the chamber for the specific water festival funds. This is essentially an MOU for the Water Festival Events Committee to utilize the funds in a way that benefits the public. That's why it's specified.
That, but I'm saying it should just go to Water Festival, not to a specific. It just seems to me that it's benefiting one business, the way it's written. If it went to Water Festival could spend the money however they wanted.
Jerry, with all due respect, parking lot is full of vendors that. I said, with all due respect, the parking lot is full of vendors that pay to the Water Festival Committee. When it comes to bands, how many bands do we provide around the entire summer for free? That we bring people to the lake to spend dollars in everyone's business.
I don't know. It was my understanding that they're $10 a car load this year, not free.
It should be $50, but it's been free.
But it's not anymore. Okay.
And
All right.
and for this, it wouldn't, I mean, from my perspective, if I go meet with Miss Mary Jo and she tells me that in order to meet all the requirements and everything, and it was for the ski show, or it was for the car show, or DOT signs, or whatever checks those boxes off, that's what I'm going to follow. So that's what's happened.
Well, again, it looks like you go to the association and whoever, whether it's Camp Clearwater having a band or the church having a band, that's between them, not between the town of White Lake funding whether you have a band or not.
But
And that's that's not my problem, how you charge and retain. If you so choose to have a band, God bless you. I don't see where the town of White Lake needs to be sponsoring bands. At this time, if you'll come up next year, we'll talk about it then.
It was a specific item that was asked for. Money is money. If the contribution is going towards the entity. The entity pays for the ski show, for supplies for the vendors, for floats, for anything. That was just the item that was used.
Look, if you wanna, I mean, our sponsorships that we pay, go back and look at all the sponsors. For all our businesses, I mean, you couldn't put it on without us.
It's just very
I
frustrating.
collected the money last year. I'm well aware of
Yeah.
it.
It's very frustrating. We got a half full room tonight. Water festival meetings year after year. There's a select few in this room that are there on every single meeting, making sure that these things happen.
Not to mention that Terry was supposed to head it up and she bowed out.
Call the question.
No, sir. Discussion's still ongoing.
The water festival is a key element of the lake and to kick off summertime. Our fireworks are a key element. Any other fundraisers that the entity has, the money goes back to make the water festival better. We've added a ski show in the last 2 years since the chambers dropped it. We added a kid fun zone this year, free bounce houses for the community. We're continuing to add things that the chamber just quite frankly has not done since Dawn Maynard left. So we're trying to grow the festival. And there's 4 or 5 individuals in here that are very active in it. And I wish we would get this turnout at a water festival meeting, but guess what? We don't. And it's very frustrating to sit here to fall in line to do everything like you're supposed to do to ensure that and then get almost questioned on it. The money is for the entity. It doesn't matter what, I mean, you come meet with Mary Jo and whatever she's advising me to follow these regulations and another officer in the entity to follow these requirements, and we're doing that. If the money needs to go to a ski show, then it can go to the ski show. It's a contribution to the entity. The entity then pays for the Carolina Ski Show or for a band or for a stage or for a trolley or for vendor supplies, you name it.
And as a follow-up, if the point of contention is the musical entertainment, that certainly can be rephrased. I mean, to Commissioner Womble's point, the musical entertainment was listed as a community benefit because there was no charge. The general statutes say we have to contribute as a town to an event that benefits the community.
But to the folks in the room, Jake stepped up when Terry stepped out.
No, that's not right.
And
Jake and I stepped up together.
You come here in this town board meeting, you tell us all these great things you're gonna do and how you're gonna contribute, you make a difference. And everything I see you do, you start it and you bow out.
Not sure what this is coming at me right now, but
It's the same thing that you asked for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous that you even bring up such nonsense. It's what you do.
I'm sorry. Timbo brought up this conversation, not me. Look in your mirror.
Call the question.
Any other comments, discussion?
Mayor, if I can ask a quick clarifying question on this. I see where Jake signed that it's got White Lake Water Festival and Events Inc. Do I need to update the contract to change the name? And if so, can we incorporate that into the motion so that change?
Yeah, we want to reflect the correct name on it.
Yeah, and I put that because there's been much confusion in the past few weeks with, we have 2 relatively new entities with the White Lake Water Festival and Events being one, and then the White Lake Friends being another. And then, of course, with the chamber, like I said earlier, dropping out in the last year or so, a lot of these, for instance, the firework contract or any of the water festival contracts, I'm trying to avoid confusion on those. The Bladen Journal had some stuff mixed up recently. So just trying, to your point, Whitley, anything we can do to clarify that.
But the White Lake Water Festival is the White Lake Water Festival and Events Inc. should be the correct name.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there has been a motion made and a second, I believe, to approve the entertainment reimbursement agreement as set forth in item 3C. So at this time, there being no further discussion, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Aye.
The matter passes. Okay, next is item 3D, Black Mountain Software Pay Agreements. Sean, if you will take that, please.
Yes, sir. This is some of the first transition documents that are coming before the board. Just a brief reminder, this was a $200,000 grant the town received to transition to a updated finance system in hopes to improve efficiency and effectiveness to our customer base. The first one listed under 1 is a direct replacement for our third-party payment application software. If you log on now, this is an example. To pay a bill through our website, it'll take you to a company called PSN. That company will change to Nueve. Nueve is the company that Black Mountain Software utilizes for those services. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve the merchant agreement as presented.
So moved.
Motion second. Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Number 2 is the agreement between the town of White Lake and Nueve for our electronic bill payment services. This is a new service. This will allow our customer base to log on through a customer portal. They'll be able to view past bills, view their current bill. They'll also be able to make changes to their account utilizing that customer portal that will reflect in our system in real time. If there are no questions, the staff would ask the board to approve the citizen merchant agreement as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Next matter is item E, offer to purchase land. Sean, if you'll take that, please.
Yes, sir. This is another follow-up to last month's meeting. The action item from last month's meeting after closed session was to bring the board back and offer to purchase land from Miss Liza Van Smith. That is parcel ID 0028053, located on White Lake Drive. The price agreed upon for said property is $75,000, whereas the party agreed that the value of the property has been established previously by an appraisal at $165,575, and the difference between the value and said purchase price will be treated as a donative transfer at the seller's discretion. Long story short, the town is offering to pay $75,000 to Ms. Liza Van Smith. The remainder balance of that $165,000 and $75,000 difference can be treated by her as a donation to the town if she so chooses. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve the contract of purchase and sale as presented.
This time I'd entertain a motion to approve the land purchase.
So moved.
Motion second, any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item F, entertainment reimbursement agreement between the town of White Lake and the White Lake Water Festival Committee.
Yes, sir. This is the other contract that was, or memorandum of understanding that was discussed previously in the agenda item. This is to cover the cost of the firework entertainment conducted, or cover a portion of the cost of the firework entertainment conducted during the 4th of July celebration. And again, this is made to the entity of the White Lake Water Festival and Events Committee. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve the agreement as presented.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I got a question.
Wait a minute, let's get see, entertain a motion to approve at this time.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Now, any
Okay.
discussion?
Be sure I'm on the right track here. We give money for fireworks. In the past, I suppose we gave it to the chamber.
Yes, sir.
All right. So do we give them any money for fireworks this year?
The chamber?
Yes.
No, sir.
All right. The money that the chamber had, that was the earmarked water festival money, it come over to the water festival. Is that right? The money was earmarked from the chamber that used to be water festival money. It come over to this nonprofit water festival.
Last July.
Okay. So. Okay. So in the past, when we gave money for fireworks, can you tell me how much we gave for the fireworks? Can anybody give me that?
4,000.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Return the check, I came up here to try to get the check, and I was told that I couldn't get the check.
Because of it being a different entity.
Because it went to a different end.
That's right.
okay. All right, so I don't have a problem giving $4,000 for fireworks. If it's earmarked fireworks, and that's what we've done in the past. It was just a little confusion to me where we got entertainment, we got bands, and we got fireworks. So I just want to be clear on that.
Much additional do y'all pay?
It's over $11,000 total for fireworks.
And that's paid by,
So, by the White Lake Water Festival and Events, entity, now that the chamber has dropped it as well, the entity that I was talking about before, that fronts the bill through their sponsors, the donations and the funds that are raised through, fundraising activities throughout the year. That includes Water Festival and even New Year's Eve fundraisers.
And the money we give to the chamber as dues is, what was that number? 3,000, 5,000 a year we give them as dues?
Yes, sir.
We wanted to cut it back because they dropped us, but yet we continue. So we're not getting anything from the chamber for fireworks or any other thing.
For no
But yet we're
offense,
paying.
That's correct.
And we're paying that kind of money. Don't sound
The
like-
chamber has really taken a step back overall in my assumption and assessment.
And we need to take a step back on how much money we contribute.
The chamber is working very hard on tourism in this county, and they are doing something for us.
It's my understanding that's where our contribution is being utilized in the tourism promotion.
Yes.
All right. Answer my question about the 4,000.
all right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. So I assume that's unanimous. Do what?
You assume that?
Item 4, resolutions and ordinances. Item A is resolution to opt out of early voting and absentee voting in municipal election. Sean, if you will, if you'll address that, please.
Yes, sir. This is a non-presidential election, so the town incurs the cost of providing early voting should the board choose to provide that service. As information to the board, is my understanding, there's no other municipalities that are going to be participating in early voting in the county. And as a result of that, if the board wants to move forward with that, the Board of Elections is stating that the town of White Lake will need to pay for 6 people to work the polls. And it'll be a total of 17 days working in addition to the cost incurred for ballots printed during that time period. It's in the neighborhood, it's north of $10,000. The Board of Elections Director was out of the office this week, but her staff did provide me with that information.
So all the other municipalities have already voted on this?
It's my understanding, yes, ma'am.
I'm not aware of any, Terry, that are participating in it. Elizabethtown,
Well,
to the best of my knowledge, opted out. And if all the municipalities participated, then it would be a relatively small amount for each one. But there are no others involved, so we would be stuck with the entire bill. And as Sean said, it would be somewhere north of $10,000, and that's just hard to justify with the number of people that we have that vote absentee.
I'm just surprised that everybody has already made that decision ahead of today.
That was not presidential.
Well, they're probably meeting this week, and that's not true.
Okay.
The firm town of Dublin voted last week. That's
Okay.
the only one I know about that they did.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, I would entertain a motion in regard to the resolution in item 4A to opt out of early voting and absentee voting in the upcoming municipal election.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Item B is ordinance to amend by adding section 35, general rules of procedure for town advisory boards. We had been requested to come up with some town, advisory board, guidelines. Sean, you may want to take that from there. I'll just say that if we approve this tonight, then we'll be looking at filling those boards as we go forward, right? And
Yes, sir.
already taking some applications on. Okay.
Yes, sir, and we are taking applications. That is correct. In the administrator's report that was sent out, I gave a brief update on this. I'm going to repeat that update. I think it covers it pretty well. Update being staff has worked with the School of Government, the North Carolina League of Municipalities, Lumber Council of Governments, and surrounding municipality staff members to formulate a proposal to the Board of Commissioners that's in your agenda packet tonight to form a Code of Ordinance text amendment on our advisory board procedure. The Code of Ordinance amendment aims to establish parameters for all advisory boards and give staff and elected officials a resource to utilize in the future as citizens seek public engagement. Once adopted, as Mayor Womble alluded to, staff will utilize the ordinance to bring applications back to the Board of Commissioners. And we do have requests for a Water Quality and Clarity Advisory Board, as well as an Outdoor Recreation Advisory Board at a future meeting. So again, if the board takes action on the ordinance tonight, staff will bring next month applications for the board to vote on and then appoint to staggered terms as outlined in the Code of Ordinance text amendment before you tonight.
So I assume y'all have all had an opportunity to read that, and it's something that staff is recommending we proceed with. I would entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-01 for the general rules of procedure for town advisory boards.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion?
I don't really know what it is, but I mean, I'll vote for it.
Did you read it in the agenda?
I read it. Yeah, and if it had something to do with the planning, with like the planning board changing how we can get them in and out. But
No, it doesn't have any effect on the planning board. That's a separate section in the Code of Ordinances. This is just for advisory boards. Any other questions or discussion? If not, I think there's been a motion and second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. That is approved. Next is the budget ordinance number 2025-02 to adopt the 2025-26 fiscal year budget as presented. We had previously presented this budget information at the May 13th meeting. We asked that anyone having any changes, the board or citizens, please contact us prior to this meeting. We've received no board contact. We've received no citizen contact. And therefore, I would entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2025-26 budget as presented.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion?
yeah, I got some. I did meet with Sean, so clear the air. I did meet prior to that. I'll just tear in a little bit of it. I don't know if we need 2 police cars. Usually we buy the police car staggered. So for mine too, I see this maps. I see some, I don't remember maps coming in talking with us. I don't even remember us passing him, do a study. And it looks like we're taking maps for the word increasing these salaries plus 2.5. But I asked Sean, we don't micromanage. I have to take the full word. But it's hard for me to swallow this period. We have a tax increase and we're getting raises. And this, I see if you can sharpen that pencil, I go with tax, but there's a lot of cut in here. I don't think it's a money problem. I think it's a spending problem. Like old fella told me, the church meeting finance committee. If you got more going out and you got coming in, you got a problem. That's pretty much basic. So I can't see us. We're in the serving the public, not self-serving. That's private industry. And I can't see having a tax increase on the taxpayers here. We can cut some other costs so we can have a balanced budget without a tax increase.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented.
I think we had a.
We got a motion. Yeah. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. And the budget is, okay, it's 3-3. I vote aye. Budget is approved. All right, next item is D, budget amendment number 2025-28 to decrease police salaries not paid. Sean, if you will take that, please, and
Goldston,
Yes.
Sean, can you remind everybody about the vehicles? Got a lot of vehicles that have been gone back to a list panel property tax. Because not registering in White Lake,
Sure.
or the 28337 zip code has become a problem. So if this, it'll save everybody money, but we need to make sure people register.
I think that was well said. I would also extend that not just past vehicles, but also to any campers that exist in the town limits for a very similar reason.
Y'all understand that if you got a vehicle, the registration needs to be assigned to White Lake. So if you live here and are a resident, because we're not getting the taxes off that vehicle, it actually save you money because most likely because the 28337 zip code being the same, a lot of the vehicles are being registered to the town of Elizabethtown. So their tax rate is higher than our tax rate. So just when to the public, make sure you're verifying that your vehicles are actually registered in the town of White Lake if you live here.
We just tell them that DMV, I'm sorry.
Yes, you do. Yes.
How do you know that you
They'll
are?
pull it up and show you where
It's
your
not on
account-
it's not on your statement or whatever, right?
They've changed that since they put the new DMV office up there and it's not coming, it's giving you a total balance. So
Yeah.
you're,
we had a problem with it at one time in years past, and Mike, they did used to list it on it, and I think they've changed some of their listing stuff, and we want people to understand that a tax rate in Elizabethtown, if it gets listed under there, I mean, not only do we not get the money, but it's like
big.
64.5 cents per hundred, and here at the lake, 27. So there's it's about a third of the cost of what it is otherwise. So we don't want, we want the money to come to the town of White Lake, and we don't want people to have to pay more than they should. We are going to try to work with Bladen County, and they're doing the tax collection to check the addresses and make sure that we can get them registered in the proper place so that we can assure ourselves receiving funds and to save the White Lake taxpayers some money on that. But do check your tax billing.
And Mayor, I'll instruct staff to send out a public notice to that effect.
so the zip code's causing the problem.
We're on D now.
Yes, sir.
That you presented to.
Yes.
Yeah. If you'll go ahead and go forward with item D.
Yes, sir. Item D, really through item M are just budgetary housekeeping measures. We'll go through each one of them individually. I'm happy to take questions on each one individual. Item D is Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-28. This is to decrease police salaries not paid. This is in reference to the surplus agenda item last month, which is essentially reallocating some of the monies for salaries that were unspent and then utilizing those monies for cost of uniforms, equipment, and implementation of a server upgrade on their RMS system that they utilize daily. If there are no questions, this is the budget ordinance amendment that just reflects that transaction. Staff would ask the board approve 2025-28 as presented.
Entertain a motion.
So
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. Item E is Budget Ordinance Amendment number 2025-29 dealing with PAL bill fund. Sean?
Yes, sir. 2025-29 is actually good news. We received more PAL bill funds than we anticipated to the sum of $2,698. This budget amendment will send those unbudgeted funds into our capital reserve funds for our PAL bill monies. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve the budget ordinance amendment 2025-29 as presented.
Motion.
moved.
Second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. That is approved. John, you can go ahead and proceed.
Item F is Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-30. This is in reference to the $50,000 that the county contributed to the town for a lake management project. That project is still forthcoming. So in reference to that and the new fiscal year taking place, that is moving our $50,000 contribution out of our active budget into our capital reserves for aquatic control to be utilized in next year's budget or whenever that project takes place. And just so the board's aware, before this $50,000 contribution, there's roughly $538,000 available in our aquatic control capital reserves currently. If there are no questions, the board or staff would ask the board approve Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-30 as presented.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. It is approved.
Item G, Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-31. This is to increase fire department equipment maintenance and repairs and decrease other fire department expenditures. The sum is $5,000. We had to replace some damaged fire hoses as a result of a annual evaluation that was conducted by the Office of the State Fire Marshal. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-31 as presented.
Entertain a
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign.
Item H is 2025-32 to increase general fund miscellaneous revenue and administrative miscellaneous expenses. And this is to receive the monies that the court mandated the recipient in the form of restitution for the individual who was responsible for the destruction of the fall decorations. When the individual destroyed our fall decorations, the court mandated they pay the town back the damages, and this $200 is to, or this budget amendment is to reflect the $200 in our budget as being received. If there are any questions, happy to entertain them. If not, staff would ask that the board approve Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-32 as presented.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Item I is 2025-33. This is the decreased water and wastewater salaries for salaries not paid. We did utilize a temporary agency for temporary work in lieu of not having full-time public works staff. This budget amendment is to reflect the cost that the town incurred during that time, utilizing monies that were pre-budgeted as salaries and transitioning those monies over to cover the expense of the temporary work. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve 2025-33 as presented.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Item J is Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-34. This is to decrease administration department auditor expenses. If you recall, our finance department did save the town some money in our auditing contract by being capable of conducting some of the yellow book auditing laws internally and not having to outsource those to the auditor. That was in the sum of $3,000. We have reappropriated those funds to cover unanticipated leaf and limb fees charged to the town for disposal of that service at the county landfill. If there are no questions, staff would ask that the board approve Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-34 as presented.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, like sign.
Item K, 2025-35 is to increase fire department revenue and expenditures. This is to receive the reimbursement from Hurricane Helene and place it in the appropriate department, that being the fire department for Helene mission 313543 in the sum of $29,431.
So moved.
Motion second. Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign.
Item L is also in reference to Hurricane Helene. This is a reimbursement received by the town. This budget ordinance amendment will receive those funds under miscellaneous general fund revenue for those appropriate expenditures.
Motion,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
And finally, item M, Budget Ordinance Amendment 2025-37, also in reference to Hurricane Helene, is to receive the monies expended in water and wastewater and receive those monies appropriately in the aforementioned departments.
So moved.
Motion, second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Item 5 is other business. Are there any brief matters from any commissioners before we proceed with item A? Not under item A or departmental briefings and reports as we include in the agenda each month. Those are available for inspection by the public. Item B, Town of White Lake Annual Wastewater Report. And we have sent that out. We work very diligently to assure the financial sustainability of our system and the health and environmental costs associated with that. And that is one of our top goals, is to keep that functioning well at all times. Item C is July 4th fireworks. Fireworks be on Friday, July the 4th, at the Grand Regal at Goldston's Beach at sunset. And I hope all the community can attend that and will be able to enjoy the fireworks as we do each year here at the Town of White Lake. And hope everyone can join in with us on that. It's become quite a tradition. The item D is municipal complex holiday closure, be closed on Friday, July 4th, 2025. So there's no use or no excuse for not going and watching the fireworks. We'll be closed here. And I hope everybody will be able to attend. Item E is we did do a public services announcement. Well, it was issued when there was an alligator sighting in the lake, and I want to take just a moment to Kathy Kinlaw's here to thank her. Kathy came up with a very good, I started to say handout, but I reckon that's old fashioned. We don't do handouts anymore. We do something that we can put online, and Kathy contacted me on that, and she and I had a discussion, and I offered, just so everyone in here will know, to send that out under Kathy's name. As usual, Kathy doesn't want to have credit for anything. She just looks after the best interests of the Town of White Lake. And Kathy, we appreciate that more than you know, and always thankful for your help. Your sons got their writing abilities, very honestly. And we do thank you for all that you do for the lake, and we thank you for your help in that situation. Item F is the Bladen County candidate filing. Filing will be July 7th, 2025, and go through July 18th, 2025 at 12 noon. Filing fee is $5 to file for candidate filing. That concludes the regular business. We're now at the open forum, 3 minutes per citizen. You can state your name. If you wish to be heard, you have 3 minutes to speak. Is anyone wishing to speak at this time? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion second.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.